Have you ever thought of what it would be like if you were the person who purchased the land that is now New York City or LA before it ever became valuable? What if you could become one of those smart investors that got a hold of that land before any of that development took place? Well, in this interview, my business partner, Cliff, interviews Kevin Maris of Velur Enterprises, and they talk about some prime raw land real estate that is about to skyrocket in value, all because of one thing: solar. And this is taking place in Southern California, where the real estate is perfect for the solar industry. So all of these solar developers are buying up land out there like crazy. Now, if you get your hand on that land before the solar developers come and get it, they'll buy it from you, and then you can see a hefty ROI on your investment. So make sure you stay all the way to the end of this enlightening interview about the biggest land rush in history so you can claim your spot at the beginning.
So it's Kevin Maris and the company Velur Enterprises. Great. Thanks for taking the time for this.
Yeah, you too, Cliff. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell me a summary of your company and what you do?
So we are a boutique land investment firm. We were up in Van Nuys for many years, and then just last year moved over to Woodland Hills. So our headquarters is in Woodland Hills, and we offer investments to raw land investments to investors. And so it's raw Southern California land, and raw land, it hasn't been improved for crops. There's no streetlights, curbs. It's raw land investment. So it's a physical asset. So in a time where you might want to diversify, the stock market's doing a bunch of different things, it's not correlated. It's a raw physical Southern California asset. And that's what we help our investors with.
And what is the mission of your company?
Yeah, it took a lot of vision to see this 10 years ago, but now most people can see that there is certainly a shift, and we need to do it for our climate, from oil and fossil fuels towards renewables. And you can see that on a global scale and a local scale here in California. And that's backed up by mandates that we have in California that are driving that move towards renewables. And so that's something that we are behind, and we give the ability to our investors to participate in that shift. It's the greatest shift of wealth that I think our nation has seen. And it's the greatest land rush in California. And climate change is driving that, and we're behind that. And we can offer investments that our investors can feel good about, and they can participate in that.
Fantastic. How did you get here?
So I call this my why. I have a son that's autistic, and I came from the financial world. So I worked for a big brokerage house for a long time, and I was looking for an investment that could take care of my little guy long after my years on this planet. And I wanted something that he didn't have to manage, and he didn't have to rely on a lot of different professionals that had to be very astute and up with the market. And I like the fact that it's a physical asset. And so I was fortunate enough, our chairwoman that led our board of directors was leading a Vistage meeting, and she invited me. There was a speaker there who was the director at Velur, and she was talking about raw Southern California land. And I thought it sounded fantastic, and I thought it fit the bill for what I was looking for to take care of my son for a long time. And it's a long-term passive investment and fit the bill. And I invited her to coffee and learned about it. And then I bought a parcel, and I bought another parcel, and a bunch of my friends started buying parcels. And I thought, this is a way that I could help people too. And I talked with the company and went and got a real estate license and joined up with Velur, and it's been fantastic ever since.
That's excellent. You told me that now the idea is about renewable energy in this real estate space. You've told me before about the company and how it got created. Can you give a brief backstory to that? Because that was an interesting story.
Yeah, certainly. The owners of our company many years ago from the Czech Republic and landed in California ultimately. They're both professionals, and they knew and liked land, and they started buying land on the outskirts of LA. There's really two things that drive that. So LA, California in general, if you look at California's economic output, GDP, compared to all the other nations in the world, California would be the 5th largest nation in the world. In LA itself would rank 17. This is where the economic output is, and this is where the money is. Initially the thought was distribution. So you have the Port of LA, you have the Port of Long Beach. It's the #1 port in the US, 3rd largest in the world. And so we have massive amounts of goods that are coming in through the port. And how do they get to you? So that chair that you're sitting in right now, or your computer, it comes to you by a truck, and it has to get there somehow. So these goods come in through the port, and they need to go to distribution centers. And land on the coast is not plentiful enough. It's too expensive. And so within striking distance of the port, within an hour or two, depending on traffic, the land was relatively affordable. And the thought was we will buy land there because that's where distribution is going to go. And our economy continues to grow and the population in the US continues to grow. And that was the initial thought. Then about in 2005, started with Governor Schwarzenegger here in California, wanted to fight the effects of climate change and started the process through some laws in California, executive orders, to move towards renewables. And it really picked up around 2011, where they started building massive solar farms, and the areas where we own land, it's also good for distribution. It's perfect for solar. It's flat. If you look at a heat map of the US, it's a perfect place for solar panels. And so it's just grown from there. And it's been a wonderful thing for our company and a wonderful thing for our investors.
That really worked out good that way
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. What is the position on the climate crisis and what role does it play in response to it?
Yeah, I think that clearly we need to do something. Clearly, our climate needs some help. And I have to give big kudos to our founders to have the vision to see what we need to do for the climate, and the land that we have that we can offer our investors can make them feel good that they're participating in that. Most likely we'll have solar consolidators will come and buy this land, and they'll put a solar farm on your land, and they'll either buy it from you, or now because they need it so quickly, they may even lease it from you. And so it's something that's good for the planet. It's where we need to go. It's a long-term investment, and it's good for the long-term health of not only our country, but the planet in general. And so I just think it's an investment that you can feel good about. And I really enjoy it.
It's a win-win all around, win for the planet. So that's a good thing. Who would be the perfect prospect for your company?
That's the beauty. I think that if you're looking at major land acquisition, in the past, that might have been relegated to some pretty wealthy people or maybe the ultra rich. But with Velur, we have parcels that are wide range. And so normal, everyday working people like you and me have the opportunity to purchase land and kind of participate in this global shift that's happening. And that's anyone that wants to have a portion of their investment that is long-term and passive, and they're willing to wait. That's the risk. You got to be able to wait. But this land has been very comprehensively researched. We have a whole team inside that has been doing this for more than 4 decades now. And so you can feel good about having a long-term passive investment. And I think anyone that has a portion of their portfolio that wants a passive investment in a physical asset it's not correlated to the stock market, you should consider this.
Definitely. Where do you go looking for these people? You told me it's a broad range of folks, but where do you go to reach out to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So land is unique, I think, to a lot of people. You can watch HGTV any day of the week and see people buying residential homes and doing flips and fixer-uppers and those kind of things. So that's widely televised and publicized. But raw land, people don't generally know a lot about that, at least people in the US. And so there's a lot of education that comes along with it. So really it just starts with people in your network. So I'm very active in my local community. I'm involved with a bunch of organizations, have the opportunity to speak at those organizations. And I just talk about the land investments and what it can do for you and your portfolio, how it's good for our planet, and people start to respond. So I have a lot of connections on LinkedIn. Obviously, that's a great platform to reach out to people. I mean, just people you know. It's really anyone that has a portion of their portfolio that they would like to participate in this kind of investment.
What has been your biggest struggle trying to market your company on social media, online?
I think that it's the educational portion. People are very busy today. There's a lot of noise in the marketplace, and you just see all kinds. I think you get bombarded with investment advice. And so when you're trying to talk about a land investment, a raw land investment in Southern California that is unique, there's an educational curve that you need to really understand that to feel good about it. If you go out and buy a stock, for example, you can get validation very quickly, and you can watch the ticker symbols go up and down daily or weekly, and you're used to it. People are used to investment in their 401k plans and IRAs. And so that's commonplace. Land is not. And so to get an audience and to really sit down and take a look at what this means and what it can do for you and your family, I think that's the challenge, but it's worth it.
Definitely. What was your biggest success in 2021, let's say last year?
I feel anytime that we have an investor that comes to us and can see and has the vision of what is happening now. I mentioned a couple of times already, this global and local shift towards renewables, and it's causing a land rush in California. If you're doing this 10 years ago, it took some vision, but now I think it's all around us. The proliferation of electric vehicles, not only personal, but delivery trucks, big rig trucks. You can see it happening now. And anytime an investor comes and understands what's happening and can acquire some land before it's gone, I think it's like having a bunch of best days throughout the year, because it's a limited resource. We only have a certain amount of land, and once it's gone, so this won't be a forever thing.
What are your goals for this year for your company, 2022?
My goals are just to continue to reach all the investors that are looking for this type of a physical asset. Again, it's as we move towards a more electric world. If you look, I have some pictures of the Port of LA, all those containers up there, they need to be moved. And they need to move around the country. And those trucks that are going to be moving it, again, to bring that chair that you're sitting into your home or your business, that's going to be powered by electric vehicles. And solar is a large part of that. And a lot of our land, particularly up in the Antelope Valley and some other places, are contributing to that. And so, I think it's just to reach as many investors as I can so that they can participate in this while they can. In another, I don't know how long it's going to take, but 5 or 10 years, you won't be able to make this investment anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe sooner. Who knows?
You can see it coming. What would be your number one tip for a green or renewable energy company, or your company that's real estate, also augmenting renewable energy, for marketing on social media? What would be your number one tip for them?
I think that just having clear messaging really helps. And it boils down to go where your audience is. So getting involved in the groups on a platform like LinkedIn that have people that are like-minded and really care about this. I think this is a message that would speak to them. And so you might as well start where the people want to hear the message, and hopefully other people join the group as well and catch on here too. But I think it's just share the education with the people that want to hear it and are looking for it and are already like-minded. And I think that's a great place to start, particularly in platforms such as LinkedIn and other social media platforms.
That's a great tip, Kevin. If someone is watching this video and is interested to learn more or wants to get in touch with you, what would be the number one best way for them to respond?
I have a very active LinkedIn profile. My contact is on my LinkedIn profile, my email address, my cell phone address. Both of those are great ways to get a hold of me. So message me on LinkedIn, send me an email, call me or text me on my cell.
Great. Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate
Thanks,
your
Cliff.
time today.
I appreciate your time. Thanks for talking.
And if you enjoyed learning about how Velur Enterprises is providing raw California land for everyday investors, I invite you to check out this interview with Shasta Power, where they have created an investment fund for solar developments. So if you are looking for the next stage after the raw land and looking to get into that next stage of investment of actually producing a solar power development project, then check out this interview and you'll have your hand in so many pieces of solar, which really is the future.